Tired of eating the same old food? Experts say your dinner plate could look very different by the year 2050 as the world's population skyrockets to 9 billion. From environmental changes to advanced technology, here's what you might be eating in the future. Jellyfish. Chowing down on stinging sea creatures might not sound appealing now, but according to the UK's Future of Food report, jellyfish will be a smash hit within the next 30 years. The world is already facing a large-scale jellyfish invasion as massive blooms caused by warmer, more acidic oceans with less predators have wreaked havoc on coastal communities and local fishing industries from Australia to Japan. Researchers are attempting to combat this tentacle apocalypse by examining their potential for human consumption, and it turns out jellyfish are actually pretty good for you. Practically fat-free jellies are chock full of nutrients and vitamins including B12, magnesium, and iron, but their rubbery membrane and poisonous tentacles aren't so appealing. Thankfully, Danish scientists have developed one possible solution by using ethanol to turn these low-calorie, tasteless creatures into crunchy chips in just a few days. Sounds delicious, right? With overfishing on the rise, these alternative umbrella-shaped creatures could appear on your local fish counter by 2050. If you can't beat them, eat them. Insects. As animal and fish products become scarcer and more expensive, humans will turn to a less explored area of the animal kingdom for protein: creepy crawlies. Around 2 billion people already eat bugs in places like Africa, where caterpillars and locusts are popular, and Japan and Thailand, where you'll find crunchy crickets and even wasps. Insect chow is a growing market, and researchers hope that around 1,400 edible species will soon be treated as mini livestock, rather than just a delicacy. Studies have shown that crickets are one of the planet's most sustainable sources of meat, and most insect species have just as much nutritional value alongside plentiful micronutrients like iron and zinc. Experts in the Netherlands have already established that entomophagy, or insect eating, is far more sustainable for the planet at large. Insect farms would leave little or no carbon footprint, requiring less space, water, and agriculture machinery, while greenhouse gases would be lessened as bugs aren't big methane producers. They might remain a novelty for now, but you never know what the future will hold. Alkosynth. Most people love a cheeky tipple from time to time, but alcohol can be dangerous, not to mention detrimental to your health. Would it be great if there was a way to experience the buzz without any downsides? Professor David Nutt may have the answer. Since 2014, Nutt has pioneered a life-saving substance which he says can produce all the desirable effects of alcohol, like relaxation and social ability, without any of its toxic after effects. Waking up without a hangover might sound too good to be true, but Nutt has already started raising over $26 million in investments to bring his wonder drug, called ALGAE, to mass market. The compound is reportedly 100 times safer than the real thing and works by targeting the GABA receptor in the brain, which is positively stimulated by alcohol. ALGAE could come in the form of a pill or dissolvable film placed under the tongue, but it might be a while until you can achieve tipsy bliss without touching the hard stuff. Sonic enhanced food. Sonic food might sound like something from the distant future, but the concept is actually pretty simple. Scientists at Oxford University recently led the aptly named Bittersweet study, which explored the effect that auditory stimulation can have on the way we experience familiar foods. The study found that the taste of food can be manipulated when combined with a background soundtrack that has changes to its sonic properties. Hence the uber cool name, Sonic Enhanced Food. As a general rule, low brass sounds tended to make things taste more bitter, whereas high-pitched tunes like piano keys or bells made things taste sweeter than usual. This discovery has already made its way into high-end restaurants, where special sensory-led experiences are available to diners, but experts also believe Sonic Enhanced cuisine could have beneficial health implications for the future. By enhancing flavor with sound, foods could be produced with less salt and sugar contents and still taste the same. Who knows, your favorite chocolate could soon come with a recommended playlist. Edible bottles. It's no secret that the world is producing more plastic waste than ever before, with some 8 million pieces of pollution finding their way into our oceans each day. But one London startup has devised a way to combat this ever-growing problem. by eating it. The uho is the brainchild of Skipping Rock's lab and is an edible sphere of safe drinking water which requires no packaging because it can be consumed whole. This futuristic edible bottle is created by dipping frozen balls of liquid into an algae mixture that forms a membrane around the icy sphere, and when the ice melts, the membrane then forms a watertight seal around it. The tasteless membrane can be eaten, or you can sip the water and discard the 100% biodegradable coating. The uho has been a hit at festivals and sporting events, but its single gulp size and delicate properties mean it needs some development before it can really hit the big time. Purple bread. Eating purple bread in the future may sound like a Simpsons joke from the 90s, but this brightly colored alternative to the popular staple of most diets is actually a pretty viable possibility. Professor Zhu Weibo, a food scientist at the National University of Singapore, is the pioneering force behind this unusual creation, which he believes could become the superfood of the future. The dough's distinct purple hue is created by the addition of a chemical called anthocyanin, which is extracted from black rice. This natural pigment also occurs in fruits and vegetables like grapes, blueberries, and sweet potatoes, which gives them their colorful appearance. Anthocyanin is not only rich in cancer-fighting antioxidants, but a chemical reaction with the starch enzymes in bread can slow down digestion by 20%, potentially curbing concerns over blood sugar spikes associated with white bread. Although the number of calories and nutritional value stays the same, the slowed energy release rate also means you use those calories over a longer period of time. Farmed fish. At least 3.5 billion people rely on fish as their main source of protein, a figure set to double by 2050, but overfishing is already pushing many ocean stocks to the point of collapse. To meet these demands, the fish farming or aquaculture industry is on the rise, and since 2011, more fish has been annually farmed on land than beef. A recent report titled Towards a Blue Revolution has focused on the sustainability of farmed fish by recommending more land-based tanks. This closed container method means water can be treated to remain clean, and as 90% of U.S. seafood is currently imported, transport costs will fall significantly by locating farms closer to major markets. Fish farming is still a complicated process, but as 35 countries already produce more farmed fish than ocean caught, we can only expect this already $243 billion industry to keep booming. Lab meat. The meat industry creates more greenhouse gases than all modes of transport combined, and the most common cattle farming methods are now considered wildly unsustainable. Although more people are vegetarian, vegan, or flexitarian than ever, meat is still one of the most efficient ways of feeding humanity. To combat this problem, before the industry faces increased demand and limited resources, various projects have focused on one alternative: lab-grown meat. In 2012, Dutch scientists successfully grew strips of muscle tissue from cow cells, and the first cultured in vitro meat burger was eaten in London after being created in the Netherlands from 20,000 strands of protein and costing some $280,000. Since then, chicken nuggets have been made in San Francisco without harming a single chicken, and in 2019, British scientists grew animal cells on blades of grass. Mass-market lab meat is still not perfect. Scientists need to add fat and connective tissue to what is essentially lean mince, for example, but some food experts have claimed that customers will be able to buy lab-grown burgers for $10 as soon as 2020. MISO. MISO has been declared the breakout superfood of 2019, with a promising future ahead. But what exactly is it? And why has it become so popular? It turns out that this fermented bean paste has been a staple of Japanese culture for centuries and is used as seasoning to add a taste known as umami to soups, salad dressings, stews, marmalades, and more. Miso has recently been adopted into Western culture because of its multitude of healthy properties, like being full of live bacteria cultures which can aid the digestive system and increase gut health. A link has also been made between miso and an ability to make us feel fuller, as its distinctly savory taste tricks the brain into thinking that it's consuming vital proteins. A 2013 study uncovered an even more impressive property though, as the miracle paste was shown to help prevent radiation injury, treat cancer, and hypertension. Whether you've already tried it or not, you can probably expect to see more miso in the next 30 years. Fungi. Fungi makes up a quarter of the world's biomass, and human consumption can be traced back at least 18,700 years in the field of Chinese medicine. But many species are still considered delicacies or not eaten at all. Recent research into incorporating more than just the average portobello into our diets has focused on one unsung hero of the natural world known as mycelium, which is the white web-like stuff mostly found on wetwood. This incredible substance has an impressive superpower. It can convert undigestible anti-nutrients into nutrients, and was even able to turn plastic waste into food by digesting and converting it into edible biomass using a specially designed fungi mutarium. By turning complex animal and plant matter into simple sugars and proteins, mycelium holds massive potential, and scientists are even considering ways to consume it as its own nutrient-dense food. The fungi market is now predicted to grow approximately 9.5% annually, so more of these incredible organisms are sure to turn up on our plates. GMO everything. Controversy over genetically modified foods has raged for decades, but GMO foods from fruit and veg to fish and livestock could be vital to the future of our diets. Selective breeding can yield a multitude of positive results, like veggies with more antioxidants that help our bodies fight disease, and bruise-resistant fruits with longer shelf life. Experts say GMOs can also revolutionize agriculture by producing pest-resistant plants, plants that require less fertilizer, and even plants that fight climate change by turning more carbon dioxide into oxygen. Biotechnology is becoming more accessible nowadays, and an innovative technique known as CRISPR now enables anyone with basic lab equipment to edit genes. As farmers no longer have to rely on large corporations and their patents, we can expect to see whole new strains of crops with a range of unique properties. Only time will tell the impact GMO will have by 2050. 3D printed food. The possibilities of 3D printing technology are seemingly endless. And although fully synthesized food seems a long way off, research into printed meals is well underway. Gourmet restaurants are already offering specially catered 3D experiences, while some German nursing homes have successfully rolled out a world-first 3D printed product called Smooth Foods in over 1,000 facilities to feed elderly residents who have difficulty chewing. Food designer Chloe Rutzerveld also produced a 3D printed nutrient-rich snack called Edible Growth, which is a yeast-like structure containing seeds and spores that sprout a few days after printing. Scientists believe 3D printing could be a sustainable alternative to traditional food production, as the machines could use cartridges made of hydrocolloid substances that form biodegradable gels with water. These machines could also be useful in working more unpalatable but nutrient-rich ingredients like algae, duckweed, and grass into familiar dishes. Someday soon, you might even be able to order your meals on an app and then watch them get printed out right in front of you. Algae. Of all the potentially edible things the world has to offer, sludgy green algae from the ocean's depths is probably not the first thing on your wish list. Surprisingly though, future food experts suggest that this abundant resource could be the answer to some of the world's most complex problems, including food shortages. There are 10,000 types of existing seaweed which release about 50% of the world's oxygen into the air, and many sea vegetables like arami, wakame, nori, and the popular health supplement spirulina are nutrient-rich and packed full of salty goodness. Algae farming could become the world's biggest cropping industry, as it can be grown in oceans rather than the Earth's available fresh water, 70% of which is already used for crops and livestock. Wellness company Iwi already has a 900-acre algae farm in New Mexico, which cultivates a strain of algae capable of producing 7 times the amount of protein as a land-based soybean farm. Scientists at Sheffield Hallam University have also experimented with using seaweed granules as a supplement for salt in bread and processed foods, meaning we might not have to gulp down sludge by the bucketful after all. So there you have it. Which of these future foods would you incorporate into your diet? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, thanks for watching.